Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is R.S. Raghu and with me is Renuka, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India and Vietnam signed joint vision statement on defense partnership towards 2030. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh holds bilateral talks with his Vietnamese counterpart in Hanoi. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change of India rebuts the Environmental Performance Index 2022 released recently. Reserve Bank of India's monetary policy increases repo rate by 50 basis points to 4.90%. Today is World Ocean Day. In sports, PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen sail into pre-quarterfinal of Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament. Legend of Indian women's cricket Mithali Raj announces her retirement from all forms of international cricket. And India to take on South Africa in opening encounter of 5-match T20 series at Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi on Thursday evening. India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh said Vietnam is an important partner in India's Act East policy and Indo-Pacific vision. He said India and Vietnam share a comprehensive strategic partnership and defence cooperation is a key pillar of this partnership. Mr. Singh is on a 3-day official visit to Vietnam. On the first day of his visit, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh visited the mausoleum of the founding father of Vietnam, former President Ho Chi Minh, and paid homage to the great leader. He held bilateral meeting with the Vietnam's Minister of National Defence General Pham Van Giang in Hanoi. After the meeting, Rajnath Singh said India-Vietnam close defence and security cooperation is an important factor of stability in the Indo-Pacific region. Rajnath Singh is also scheduled to call on the President of Vietnam Nguyen Huan Phuc and Prime Minister Pham Minh Chi. At the Hong Ha shipyard in Hai Phong, Rajnath Singh will preside over the handing over ceremony of 12 high-speed guard boats constructed under the Government of India's $100 million defense line of credit to Vietnam. Mr. Singh will also visit the training institutions of Vietnam at Nha Trang, including the Telecommunication University, where an Army software park is being established with $5 million grant from Government of India. He will also attend a community event organized by the Embassy of India situated in Hanoi and interact with the Indian diaspora. India has rebutted the Environmental Performance Index 2022 released recently. Environment, Forest and Climate Change Ministry said the index has many indicators based on unfounded assumptions. It said some of these indicators used for assessing performance are extrapolated and based on estimations and unscientific methods. The ministry said it does not accept the EPI analysis and conclusions. It said both forests and wetlands of the country are crucial carbon sinks which have not been factored in while computing the projected greenhouse gas emissions trajectory up to 2050 given by the index. The ministry said the weight of indicators in which India was performing well has been reduced and reasons for change in assignment of weights has not been explained in the report. The indicators on water quality, water use efficiency, waste generation per capita, which are closely linked to sustainable consumption and production, are not included in the index. EPI 2022 report based on Global Carbon Budget 2021 shows that India has one of the lowest emission trajectories vis-a-vis other countries as well as the rest of the world. Hence, without factoring this aspect, the use of biased metrics and biased weights has resulted in a low rank. This also shows that the indicator based on data for the only past 10 years does not take into account the historical responsibility of the developed countries.
The Reserve Bank of India on Wednesday increased the repo rate by 50 basis points to 4.9%. The current repo rate is 4.4% after the rates were increased by 40 basis points at an off-cycle meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee. RBI Governor Shaktikant Das said that the standing deposit facility and marginal standing facility rates also raised by 50 basis points. Standing deposit facility rate is now 4.65%, while marginal standing facility rate is at 5.15%. The RBI governor said that the Russia-Ukraine war has led to globalization of inflation. He said that the inflation has steeply increased much beyond the tolerance level. Process of recovery in emerging market economies is also getting affected, but the Indian economy has remained resilient. A gradual withdrawal of the extraordinary accommodation has been started. The RBI will continue to be proactive and decisive in mitigating the fallout of geopolitical crisis on our economy. The steps will be measured, calibrated, Mr. Das added. The RBI also revised inflation projection for financial year 2023 to 6.7% from 5.7% earlier. Stating on inflation, Das said inflation likely to remain above 6% in first 3 quarters of current fiscal. Our steps will be calibrated, focused on bringing down inflation to target level, the RBI governor said. Inflation projection for April to June has been revised to 7.5% from 6.3%. For July to September, it has been revised to 7.4% from 5.8%. Inflation projection for October to December has been revised to 6.2% from 5.4%, while for January-March 2023, it has been updated to 5.8% from 5.1%. The real GDP forecast for financial year 2023 has been retained at 7.2%, Shaktikant Das said. In our hotspot section today, AIR News has a special feature on 8 years of service, good governance and welfare of the poor tech-powered India. A report. The mantra of the present government is good governance. India has joined the ranks of the world's leading countries today with the concept of minimum government, maximum governance and use of information technology for good governance. The use of technology has been a major reason for the developmental work done in various sectors in the last 8 years of the government. The Prime Minister clearly said that it is very important for the country to be self-reliant in the new systems being built in the world.
इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के फील्ड में हमारा डेवलपमेंट विजन एडवांस टेक्नोलॉजी पर बेस्ड है। पब्लिक सर्विसेज और लास्ट माइल डिलीवरी भी अब डेटा के जरिए डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म से जुड़ रही है। हमारे लिए टेक्नोलॉजी देश के सामान्य से सामान्य नागरिक को एम्पावर करने का एक सशक्त माध्यम है। हमारे लिए टेक्नोलॉजी देश को आत्मनिर्भर बनाने का प्रमुख आधार है।
Making better use of technology, the government has successfully operated the world's largest identification program, Aadhaar. Money has started reaching the bank accounts of farmers or women beneficiaries from time to time by direct benefit transfer. Middlemen were also removed from this system automatically. Now, whatever financial assistance the government wants to give to the beneficiaries, it is given 100% without any problem. Cash was transferred to the accounts of 20 crore women beneficiaries during the corona period. Not only this, the introduction of e-Sanjeevani telemedicine, which was started to give medical consultation to general public from far-flung areas, proved to be a boon. The CoWIN portal was started to deal with the disaster of the epidemic during the COVID period. The portal not only facilitated immunization of every citizen of the country, but also important tasks like instant registration and issuance of certificates were completed without any hindrance. The new India has adopted new technology for governance. The launch of the Umang mobile app also assumes significance. Comprehensive schemes of central and state governments have been included in this app. Speaking at a webinar on technology-led development after the Union Budget was presented this year, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that public services and last-mile delivery are also now connected to digital platforms through data. He said, technology is a powerful medium to empower the common man of the country. Prime Minister said that technology is the mainstay to make the country self-reliant.
आज भारत में जिस तरह टेक्नोलॉजी को गुड गवर्नेंस के लिए गवर्नेंस सुधारने का एक आधार बनाया जा रहा है, वो अपने आप में जन सामान्य को एम्पावर कर रहा है। यह अभूतपूर्व है। डिजिटल इंडिया अभियान ने भारत के सामान्य मानवी को डिजिटल टेक्नोलॉजी से कनेक्ट करके देश की ताकत अनेक गुना बढ़ा दी है। अब हम भली-भांति जानते हैं, हमारा देश गर्व के साथ कह सकता है 130 करोड़ आधार नंबर, 118 करोड़ मोबाइल सब्सक्राइबर्स, लगभग 80 करोड़ इंटरनेट यूजर करीब 43 करोड़ जनधन बैंक खाते, इतना बड़ा कनेक्टेड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर दुनिया में कहीं नहीं है। ये डिजिटल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर राशन से लेकर प्रशासन तक हर एक को तेज और पारदर्शी तरीके से सामान्य भारतीय तक पहुंचा रहा है।
22 crore Ayushman Bharat health accounts have been created under Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission. The efforts of the government to promote digital transactions were welcomed by all the people of the country. Under the Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, for the first time, bank accounts of 45 crore people were opened who are getting the benefits of all government schemes without intervention of middlemen. 68% of the beneficiaries of Mudra Yojana are women. The present government in the country has provided the world's largest rural connectivity. This is giving far-reaching results in various fields, and the pace of development is also accelerating. With the massive efforts of the government, it is now easier to store documents digitally by using DigiLocker. In 2021-22, above 506 crore documents were issued in DigiLocker. In order to ensure the convenience of pensioners, the government has introduced Jeevan Praman Digital Certificate, DLC. It has brought great relief to the senior citizens. The effort of the government is to make a digital India and self-reliant India. Connecting remote areas by laying a network of optical fibers has also proven to be a milestone in the direction of good governance. Youth has been empowered through Digital India. Bheem app has made digital transactions process easier. Today, India has reached the leading position in the world in digital transactions. Since 2014, the government has made every effort to make India digital through its schemes so that the benefits of every scheme reach the remote areas of the country in the same way and to everyone. Direct benefit transfer by linking mobile with bank account is a proof of it. Guru Thames, Senior Domain Manager, Infosys Limited, said that use of technology in various schemes by the government has made people's lives easier.
Two of the schemes which I would like to point out is DBT and Digital India. DBT scheme prevents fraud and promotes accountability in subsidy distribution. It helped in distribution of subsidies to the deserving applicants living below the poverty level. Ever since DBT is implemented, it brought in more transparency and productivity. Second one is Digital India. This is one of the flagship program of Modi government, launched with a vision to transform India into a digitally empowered society and knowledge economy. By doing 7,422 crore digital payment transaction in financial year 2022, citizens have proved that their solidarity with Modi government.
There are more than 68,000 startups in the country. Startups have given over 6 lakh jobs since the year 2016. More than 44 unicorns have been added during the year 2021 and 15 more unicorns have been added till April 2022. There are now 100 unicorns in the country. In the last 8 years, government has used technology for good governance and welfare of poor. The government has presented various options for better use of technology. The government has allocated 40,995 crore rupees under the PLI scheme for domestic electronics production in the country. It is also a matter of pride that it is a result of the tireless hard work of the present government that a record number of space missions have been conducted. The space missions being conducted every year have almost doubled after 2014. A record 104 satellites were launched from PSLV flight. The government has made full use of drone technology and space technology for a self-reliant India. The government is encouraging the use of drones for farmers. Transportation of essential medicines and other materials were ensured through the use of drones during the COVID pandemic. Along with encouraging scientists and researchers, the government's belief in scientific work is paramount. Similarly, the government, in its efforts to boost the income of the farmers, the Kisan Rath mobile app has been launched. It is helping farmers, manufacturers and traders to hire vehicles to transport their products. The government e-marketplace GEM portal was launched in August 2016 to eliminate corruption in government procurement. Today, over 40 lakh businessmen are associated with it. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal said GEM is the fastest growing government e-marketplace in the world.
GEM का लाभ government e-marketplace and it's truly a gem. ये कल्पना प्रधानमंत्री जी ने कुछ 4-5 साल पहले रखी, कुछ अफसरों के सामने, कुछ मंत्रियों के सामने, उस पर काम किया गया और आज विश्व में शायद गवर्नमेंट ई-मार्केटप्लेस जो हमारा जेम है, इसके लेवल की कोई और व्यवस्था विश्व में आज अवेलेबल नहीं. कुछ जगहों पे छोटी है, पर जो स्पीड पे हम ग्रो कर रहे हैं, वी आर द फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग गवर्नमेंट ई-मार्केटप्लेस और जेम पोर्टल, जिसने सरकारी खरीद को एक नया रूप दिया.
The present government, under the dynamic leadership of Narendra Modi, is working with the mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Prayas and Sabka Vishwas. Due to continuous encouragement of the government and the efforts of young scientists and researchers, India is becoming a rapidly emerging, strong technological country on the world map, and it is setting an example for other countries. The government has given top priority to give wings to the dreams of a new India through the digital medium.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
Welcome back to World News. Today is World Ocean Day. The day is celebrated every year on June 8th to raise public awareness of the ocean and its resources in order to promote global ocean and resource sustainability. The purpose of the day is also to inform the public of the impact of human actions on the ocean, develop a worldwide movement for citizens for the ocean, and mobilize and unite the world's population on a project for the sustainable management of the world's oceans. The theme for this year is Revitalization, Collective Action for the Ocean. Report.
The ocean cover over 70% of the planet. According to the UN, oceans produce about 50% of the planet's oxygen and are home to Earth's biodiversity. It is the main source of protein for more than 1 billion people around the world. The ocean is key to economy, with an estimated 40 million people being employed by the ocean-based industries by 2030. It is also the life source supporting humanity's sustenance and that of every other organism on Earth. However, over the years, oceans had to witness 90% depletion of big fish populations and destruction of 50% of coral reefs due to reckless human activities. It is an urgent need to work together to create a new balance with the ocean that no longer depletes its bounty, but instead restores its vibrancy and brings it new life. With PV Varghese report, Manal Said for AIR News.
India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar held wide-ranging discussion with his Iranian counterpart Dr. Hossein Amir Abdullahian in New Delhi on Wednesday. They reviewed the bilateral cooperation, including in trade, connectivity, health and people-to-people ties. The ministers also exchanged views on global and regional issues, including Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, Afghanistan and Ukraine. Both ministers witnessed signing of an agreement on mutual legal assistance in civil and commercial matters. Dr. Hossein Amir Abdullahian arrived in New Delhi on Tuesday. He is also scheduled to visit Mumbai and Hyderabad.
The BRICS nations, comprising Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, have vowed to deepen financial cooperation and customs cooperation. Chinese state media reported that BRICS countries agreed to strengthening coordination on macroeconomic policy at a virtual meeting of finance ministers and central bank governors of the 5-member bloc on Monday, which was co-chaired by China's central bank governor Yi Gang and finance minister Liu Kun. The meeting discussed topics such as improving the contingent reserve arrangement and the cooperation of transition finance and other areas. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who participated virtually in the meeting, said that India's growth will be driven by fiscal spending. Ms. Sitharaman said BRICS should continue to serve as a platform to engage in dialogues and facilitate exchange of experiences, concerns and ideas for rebuilding a sustainable and inclusive growth trajectory. Customs authorities of BRICS countries also vowed to deepen cooperation on intelligent customs at a virtual meeting on Tuesday. Customs cooperation between BRICS countries has seen fruitful results since the establishment of the cooperation mechanism in 2013, while bilateral trade has maintained steady growth, said Sun Yunin, Deputy Head of the General Administration of Customs of China. China's bilateral trade with BRICS countries totaled $490.42 billion in 2021, up to 39.2% year-on-year, higher than the overall level of China's foreign trade in the same period, according to official data. All parties should gradually improve the intelligence level of customs infrastructure, supervision methods and administrative management, and form cross-border coordinated governance among border administration departments, Sun said. Against current risks and challenges, the participants pledged to ensure that the customs authorities of BRICS countries continue to work together to safeguard the international supply chain and promote rapid economic and trade recovery among BRICS countries. China is this year's chair of the BRICS and is expected to hold the annual summit of the 5-member bloc this month. Russia claimed that it has assumed control over almost all of Luhansk province in eastern Ukraine on Tuesday. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu said Moscow's forces now control 97% of Luhansk province, part of the Donbas region. Shoigu said Russian troops were also advancing towards the town of Popasna, and they have taken control of Lyman and Svatorsk and 15 other towns in the region. However, Ukrainian officials said their troops are standing their ground in fierce fighting with Moscow's forces in the streets of the region's key industrial city of Severodonetsk. Russian attacks and Ukrainian counterattacks have been reported in the city over the past several days during fierce fighting. The battle for Severodonetsk is crucial to Moscow's attempt to assume full domination over Luhansk province. Both Russia and Ukraine claim to have inflicted huge casualties on each other.
Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe on Wednesday said that the country needs at least $5 billion over the next 6 months to pay for essential goods. Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe told Sri Lankan Parliament the money is needed for basic items such as food, fuel and fertilizer. Mr. Wickremesinghe, who is also the country's finance minister, told Parliament that more money was required this year to meet Sri Lanka's basic needs. The Prime Minister added that the United Nations also plans to make a worldwide appeal for Sri Lanka and has pledged $48 million for food, agriculture and healthcare. He also warned of a slowdown in government payments to businesses and workers across the country as funds are redirected to pay for food supplies. In May, Sri Lanka defaulted on its debts with international lenders for the first time in its history as it faces its worst economic crisis in more than 70 years. The country has held bailout talks with the International Monetary Fund. The country's economy has been hit hard by the pandemic, rising energy prices and populist tax cut. A shortage of medicines, fuel and other essentials has also caused to push the cost of living to record highs. In badminton, Indian shuttlers PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen on Wednesday moved into the pre-quarter-final round at the Indonesia Masters tournament being held at the Istora Senayan Arena in Jakarta, Indonesia. Lakshya Sen defeated Hans Christian Wittgengus 21-10, 21-18 in the men's single, while PV Sindhu outclassed Danish shuttler Line Christophersen 18-21, 21-15, 21-11. Sen defeated Wittgengus expertly in straight sets to advance to the subsequent round of the competition. In women's singles, Sindhu lost the first game of the fixture to Christophersen by a narrow margin, but she came back strongly to win the following 2 games and round off a victory that sealed her place in the round of 16. In another tie, in men's singles event, Samir Verma lost to Indonesian Chico Ora Dwi Wadoyo 17-21, 15-21 in 2 straight games in the opening round. In women's single, Akarshi Kashyap also lost the match against Bevin Zhang 12-21, 11-21 in the opening round.
The legend of Indian women's cricket, Mithali Raj, announced her retirement from all forms of international cricket at the age of 39 years on Wednesday. She retired from T20 way back in September 2019 but continued to play in ODIs and test matches. Mithali retires as a leading run-getter in women's ODIs. She represented India in 232 matches, scoring 7,805 runs at an average of 50.68. Mithali made her international debut in June 1999 in an ODI against Ireland. She captained India in the ICC Women's World Cup earlier this year in New Zealand, where India failed to qualify for the semi-finals. It was under her captaincy that India reached the final of the 2017 ICC Women's World Cup, where they narrowly lost to England. Mithali was also captain of the team in 2005 when India lost to Australia in the final of the ICC Women's World Cup. More in this report.
One of the most elegant batters in world cricket, Mithali Raj first gave a glimpse of her class with her performance with the Willow at a tender age of 19, where she scored 214 runs against England in the second and final test at Taunton. Her calm and composed batting style has always grabbed eyeballs. Her batting used to reflect copybook-style cricket composed with smooth footwork, strong straight drives, delicate late cuts and lovely hooks and pulls. Needless to say, her absence in Indian cricket will create an unfulfillable void. Adieu, Mithali. The Indian cricket fans will never forget your valuable contribution. With Pratyush Ghosh's report, Renu Kataria, AIR News, Delhi.
In cricket, the 5-match T20 international series between India and South Africa will start from Thursday. The inaugural match will be played at Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi tomorrow from 7 p.m. Rishabh Pant will lead India in the T20 series following designated skipper KL Rahul getting ruled out due to a right groin injury. Themba Bavuma will take command of South African team. The two teams will play the subsequent matches in Cuttack on 12th, Visakhapatnam on 14th, Rajkot on 17th and the last one in Bengaluru on 19th of this month. In view of the upcoming T20 World Cup tournament, the bilateral series will be beneficial to prepare for the World Championship to be held in Australia.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. First, we have a look at the press reports on China. Washington Post reports a Cambodian naval base being constructed with the assistance of China will include a portion for the exclusive use of the Chinese military. The Chinese and the Cambodian governments have denied reports that Cambodia will allow a Chinese military presence at the Ream naval base on the Gulf of Thailand.
Now let's have a look at the press reports on Nepal. The Kathmandu Post reports that Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba has stalled the cabinet reshuffle following consultations with coalition partners. He is said to have done it to preempt disputes in ruling parties. On Sunday, the CPN Unified Socialist, one of the partners in the ruling coalition, suddenly decided to recall 4 of its ministers with a view to sending a new set of leaders to replace them. This set in motion the speculation that a cabinet reshuffle with more changes of ministerial portfolios is in offing. On Monday, Prime Minister Deuba refused to change the ministers as recommended by the Unified Socialist.
Now let's have a look at the press reports on Pakistan. News reports that Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif pitches his idea of Charter of Economy while addressing day-long pre-budget seminar on Tuesday. Economy cannot be fixed until there is political stability, he said. The Prime Minister said, since Pakistan's inception 75 years back, the economic development in the initial 25 years and the economic development after that have a stark difference. The Prime Minister further said there was a need to develop rural areas as when people travel from underdeveloped to developed cities, they become a burden on the resources of that place. A quick look at the headlines once again. India and Vietnam signed joint vision statement on defense partnership towards 2030. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh holds bilateral talks with his Vietnamese counterpart in Hanoi. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change of India rebuts the Environmental Performance Index 2022 released recently. Reserve Bank of India's monetary policy increases repo rate by 50 basis points to 4.90%. Today is World Ocean Day. In sports, PV Sindhu and Lakshya Sen sail into pre-quarterfinal of Indonesia Masters Badminton Tournament. Legend of Indian women's cricket Mithali Raj announces her retirement from all forms of international cricket, and India to take on South Africa in the opening encounter of 5-match T20 series at Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi on Thursday evening. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artists from Israel. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.